go through those details again.
So yes, thank you everyone. Thank you for the patience and welcome to the fourth episode of Platform Connect webinar series. My name is Ajinkya and I am your host for today. For those of you joining us for the first time, Platform Connect is about getting to end-to-end automated drone operations by putting together multiple pieces of jigsaw puzzle. There are several small and large pieces like drones, dogs, data processing softwares, UTMs, parachutes, detect and avoid, and many more that need to come together to make it happen. Before we get started, here are some housekeeping rules. Feel free to fire off any questions during the presentation by typing them in the Q&A section. The session is being recorded, so if your friends or colleagues missed it, they can catch it later. If you are having bandwidth issues, don't worry. We are also streaming the event live on YouTube. Today's session is about the most awaited partnership between Flightbase and Pix4D. This collaboration will allow users to streamline their dock drone ops by integrating mission planning, data collection, and analysis into a seamless end-to-end solution. We will discuss on how construction companies can automate 3D data acquisition and processing with drone dogs. With this, let me introduce you to our speakers today. Joining me is Archal Negi, who is the Director of Business Development at Flightbase and has helped several enterprises achieve true drone autonomy. We also have Jeff Miller from Pix4D. Jeff is the Director of Connected Construction, spearheading Pix4D's cloud and mobile product activities. Additionally, he leads internal IT infrastructure and cybersecurity activities. With over 25 years of experience in software development leadership across a range of business and technical domains, Jeff has a proven track record in driving innovative product development and leading organizational change. With this, I hand over the stage to Jeff to talk a bit about Pix4D and the challenges currently faced in construction projects. Over to you, Jeff.
Thanks a lot, Ajinka. At Pix4D, we like to say that our mission is to digitize reality to build a better reality, and a big part of this is our interactions with environmental surveys, mining companies, construction companies. And today, I'm going to be focusing primarily on what we're doing in the construction space. If you can give me the next slide, Ajinka. So Pix4D in general is a market leader in geospatial photogrammetry. Geospatial broadly interacts with the construction sector in a lot of different places. And when you talk about geospatial, it's I think maybe 60 to 70% construction related in this aspect. So we're broadly exposed to the construction space there. We're 200 employees. We're based in Switzerland, but we have R&D offices and sales and support offices all over the world. And we're very, very heavily focused on research and development of new products. The one main thing that I wanted to mention here is that Pix4D is broadly open to working and partnering with a wide range of manufacturers and partners. And this is partly why I'm super happy to be discussing now with Flightbase on this call. But it also, we broadly work with DJI drones, we work with Skydio drones, we work with Parrot drones. Basically, almost any drone manufacturer will be supported by our applications. And in fact, we also support DSLR cameras in our software and mobile phone cameras. So there's a wide range of things you can do with Pix4D. But we really do make an effort to be completely hardware agnostic in terms of the solutions we provide. Next slide, please, Ajinka. So one thing that we're quite happy with is we've been quite fortunate to work with some of the leading construction companies around the globe. So this is the list of construction companies that are currently our customers. And there's more than that, obviously, but these are the ones that are really notable, and most of these are recognizable names. And we do, for certain of our products, we've actually had them Bureau Veritas certified, which might not mean something to you people over in North America, but in Europe, this is a fairly big step. And this is also part of the Pix4D brand. We really make an effort to do extensive testing of our products to make sure that the customers get what they expect. Accuracy is very important to us. Next slide, please. So one of the things that we found over our time in the construction space is that not being from the construction sector ourselves, really being more from the computer science industry, we weren't so clear on the challenges that a lot of construction companies face. And if I take the window of infrastructure construction projects, it's been studied and shown that there's like roughly an average of 80% cost overrun or 20% schedule overrun. And if we're talking about infrastructure projects, these are very high cost projects, and the impact on the stakeholders, be it the public or private sector that's actually paying for these projects, is going to be significant in terms of cost impact. So obviously we want to try and minimize that as people that are involved in the planning and execution side of these kind of critical infrastructure projects. And I think it's not a stretch to go back to what I was saying before about our motto. These infrastructure projects are really making everyone's life better. So when we talk about building a better reality, if we can do these projects with lower error rates and lower cost, everybody benefits. Next, please. So why is this happening? So based on the study that was done by FMI, you can see the link down there below. 52% of this is rework caused by poor data and poor communication. But on the other side, we also have lots of efficiency where worker hours are being wasted on rework, on handling conflicts, and on searching for documentation. And one of the nice things about drone data, for any of you who've used it, is that you actually now have an authoritative and up-to-date view of a construction site or a job site or let's say an environmental area. And there's a wide range of use cases for the data, obviously. But in practice, it really gives you up-to-date, precise information about that everybody can be on the same page, literally and figuratively, with that source of truth. Next slide. So if we summarize this, construction projects are having these cost overruns in large part due to rework, bad project data, and communication problems. And we know that drone data has a potential significant impact to reducing these and improving on them. Next slide. But the issue is that these traditional drone workflows, where you go out with a single expert, you have these skilled professionals that love to go out to these job sites. They love to go out and fly the drones and capture high quality data, but this comes with additional issues. And I'm going to hand it over here now to Ashil, who's going to give us an overview of these issues.
Great. Thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing that and setting the context. And you had a great segue there. And that was the problem everybody is facing. So let me share my screen and let's talk about the challenges that we are facing today with the data collection. And I am glad that a lot of familiar names in the audience where have had those kind of discussions with them. And these kind of challenges have been already there because you are sending pilots to fly the drones, or you're going yourself to fly at a distance location. You need to travel frequently to different sites. These sites could be far away from the city from where you live. You need to operate in suboptimal conditions. There are several partners in conditions where they have temperatures which are soaring heat or really cold, and they're doing operations in that kind of a weather condition. Similarly, where there are delays in data upload to cloud, which is obvious because once you fly this, you have to come back, rely on the internet connection, upload the data, and do all of those things repeatedly. And maybe you kind of found an error in the way you collected the data, and then you have to do that process again. So data collection has been one of the challenges in a way where, of course, we are relying on people who would go there, fly the drone. And some of the use cases like security patrol are not even possible because it's really difficult and expensive to fly a drone on demand or say 24/7 around the clock. Plus, of course, it comes with the challenges where you have to train new drone pilots and they need to be constantly updated with all the things of flight operations, flying the drone, as well as collecting the data. So there are certain challenges which have been there as we are doing these kind of drone operations. And the only way to overcome is with the new technology, which is the drone docs. And that is the topic of the today. And today we are launching the integration with Pix4D. So let's take a deeper dive that why should you use docking station and should you use a docking station or not? So let's use these 4 pointers or the criteria that why should you use a docking station. So if you have a site where you need to have really good frequency, you are a construction site, You're flying to do volumetric analysis. You need a 10 a.m. report. You need a 2 p.m. report. You need a weekly report. And you have multiple sites there as well, right? And you want to have that frequent data collection or planning. You want enhanced safety. You, of course, do not risk pilots to be there on that side because it could be huge risk depending on the weather condition, or there could be things in terms of hazardous kind of locations where drones are being operated. You, of course, want to lower the cost and have on-demand operations at the lower expenses, as well as you want to have on-demand missions, like I said, where user can relaunch mission in case of discrepancy or lack of quality in the data captured. So if you are in a use case or a condition where you are finding these kind of challenges, and I'm sure you'd be facing such kind of things, this is where you would need automated drones, right? Low, high frequency, remote access, as well as you're doing these again and again on repeated missions. That's where you need docking station. So let's understand the journey that if you are operating drones today and you want to get to the entire automated process, what are the steps? What do you need to do to get there? So the number one is determining the use case. We'll talk about that. Then selecting the drone hardware and the dock hardware. Will show you the options. And then talking about the drone autonomy software platform. And then selecting the data processing platform to do so. So no guesses for what third and fourth would be, but let's take a deeper dive and understand this in more detail and understand what are the things that you need. So today, of course, the topic is construction, but the docking stations have been deployed already in multiple sites where you can leverage the combination of flight base and Pix4D, be it like security patrol, solar panel, power plant, smart city projects, emergency response, rail yard, traffic management, and list goes on, right? And today we are going to cover most of the construction site management as well as the features in flight base and Pix4D platform, which can help you automate your data collection as well as processing. Second, of course, you need the right drone and dock hardware. So if you're using something like an M300 or DJI Mavic 3 Enterprise, you have options from a partner Haisha who provide docking station for M300, 350 or D50. We also have options for DJI Mavic 3. If you are in the US and you're already adopting Anzu Raptor T, you can leverage Hextronic Universal, which is a battery swapping station. We also have a battery swapping station available from Hextronic Atlas, which is the only one in the market which is available for M300 at a scale. And of course, right now, a lot of adoptions are happening with DJI Dock and DJI Dock 2, with the Dock 2 coming into picture specifically with the global shutter camera, which is fit for the survey grade capture as well as data processing. So these are some of the popular options that you can choose from depending upon what drone fleet you have. And if you already are getting started with some from scratch, DJI Dock 2 could be the best option from you where you could get started with all of this. And then you can put them up, also use different drones and upgrade your fleet and automate that. So these are the options. Feel free to take a screenshot here. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop in the Q&A. We have done a lot of webinars on these topics, so you can, of course, go to the website and learn more. But we wanted to quickly give you the number of options which are available for you to use. And you can use a hybrid fleet of drones as you select drone and dock hardware. Now, of course, the third piece is selecting a drone autonomy software platform so you can conduct your remote operations. And let's take a deeper dive into that. So as you're kind of going into operations where you just not have now drones and a data processing software, but there you have a lot of components. You need a docking station, you need a software for flight operations, you need to have the right payload, you need to have integrations with, say, alarms on your site, you need UTM or ADSB for BLS approval, and so many components. All of these components need to come together to create an autonomous solution. So compared to manual drone operations, of course, when you get to an autonomous drone operation, there are several components that come as a part of the picture because these docking stations will be sitting 200 miles away from you, and you need to, of course, have BVLOS operations, permissions, integrations, and so on. So the operations or the deployment of such kind of solutions is complex, and all of these things need to come together, and that is where flight base plays as a centerpiece. So Flightbase provides that middleware or infrastructure where you can choose the right drone, right docking station, right components in terms of payload, software for flight operations, UTM, ADSB, weather reporting. So you can deploy these kind of docking station for several use cases. And on top of that, when it comes for the data processing, that is where we have Flings. And today we are talking about Pix4D, where how you can leverage Pix4D for data processing, whereas you could have other Flings for parachute, security software, and so on. So Flightbase would provide you the entire drone agnostic layer, be it drones, dogs, or payloads integration. Flightbase would take care of your flight automation, fleet management, flight safety, and data security. And then you have Flings, which allow you to have data processing or have operations over the data to create an end-to-end application. And at the end, you would have the entire command center where you'd be using Flightbase for your entire administrative as an operation view, mission planning view, and you have data processing software with Pix4D to have your entire operations automated. You could also have other integrations with air traffic systems, weather data systems, depending upon what is the requirement for the BVLOS compliance. So these are some examples of how people have set up their remote operations center, and we provide detailed training as well as guidance to our partners and the end users to set up these kind of systems for remote operations with all the integrations with the right hardware and software. So let's take a deeper look at what are those features which could help you in construction as well as other use cases, and features which allow you to do things related to pre-flight. So the number one thing, Flightbase provides an intuitive dashboard for your site management. So you can deploy dogs at multiple sites and create these sites and assign people and drone dogs to that particular site. You could have the location, assignment of the dog, assignment of the people. So limited set of people have access to that drone or dog, and they have the entire functionality available to use that hardware resource for photogrammetry and mapping. You could also, of course, fly, and if you have your 2D maps already there, you can overlay those maps on the base layer, so you are effectively able to plan different missions for further 3D processing or 2D processing and doing the entire mission planning. We also provide mission tags where you're able to create different tags for different missions, be it like mapping of a certain asset, or you're mapping some other pieces, or you need to categorize them. Mission tags come really useful in categorizing your different kind of missions. Mission planning functionality. So your entire mission planning for dock operation is taken care of, be it like a grid mission, be it importing a WPML file from your existing plan mission, or creating path missions. All of those things are taken care of inside Flightbase. You can, of course, have entire grid mission functionality where you can select the GSD, the route altitude, and so on. And all of those things are taken care of inside Flightbase. You can also set the overlap, which is required for your photogrammetry missions, and that will be covered. You can also set the speed, grid angle, and everything which is there required for the dock operation. You could also select the right payload. Depending upon what you have, for example, if you're using M300 drone and you have a different camera, like a P1, or we have partnership with Phase One. If you're using certain kind of cameras, you could choose the right payload so you could get the right settings for your grid mission planning. And once this is done, you can schedule the entire mission. And this is the beauty of automated missions, right? Where you can create the entire calendar and have your inspections or photogrammetry done as per the calendar. The system would automatically launch the drone from that particular point and capture the media for you and make it available in the post-flight scenarios. So once we get to the post-flight, you get the entire gallery view where you have different filters of how you can select the data, see the sites, manage the data. We have the folders, we have the file system where you can beautifully organize your data. You can also filter that out depending on the date, size, flight type, drone type, mission type, and manage the entire data that is collected from Flightbase. But once you have done that, what do you do next? Right? You want to create a 2D map, you want to create a 3D map, you want to create a report. And that is where Flightbase Export Manager comes into picture, where you can share that particular folder or the images that you've automatically collected with the Flink with Pix4D and choose the Pix4D Flink, and it would be automatically shared with Pix4D for the data processing. And now let's look at how you can integrate Pix4D for and select the data processing platform, the right data processing platform to process this data. So for that, I would invite Jeff again to talk about Pix4D.
I'm just going to take over the screen sharing here.
Sure.
Perfect, thank you. So the Pix4D workflow starts where a flight base leaves off. And what we do is once we've received the images from flight base is we transform them either via a desktop application or preferably through our cloud application into a 3D model. Well, we actually have 2D and 3D outputs. We have meshes, orthomosaics, NDVI if you have a multispectral camera, and point clouds are also another popular output. Then we also have tools inside of our platform to analyze, digitize, and annotate these models. And the cloud platform also allows you to share those broadly inside your organization or with any collaborators that you have in other organizations. So in the construction sector, a lot of companies are shifting now to being more BIM-centric. In parts of Europe, there are companies that really have BIM for every project. In other areas of the world, it's not so high, but really there is a significant shift in the construction space to doing project design and project planning with extensive BIM software. Usually we're talking about 3D. So you have these 3D model like you see on the left-hand side. But the problem is that this is really your plan for how you're going to work. And with what you actually do need is you need regular as-builts to verify that you are on plan. And verifying here can take a number of different forms. I won't talk so much about that, but if you've actually been working with construction companies, you have some idea of what I'm talking about. And so if we consider that there's the built asset lifecycle has a certain number of phases. So you have your design and planning phase, site preparation, construction. After the construction phase, you have a sign off, then you go into site maintenance, and you have an asset to end of life. Now, all of these phases for Pix4D are important, and we actually provide scalable, precise scanning that can be used and has value at each of these stages. So in the design and planning stage, the drone and ground surveys are pretty much the standard operating procedure in the world now. Initial earthworks are planned with drone maps. This is usually done kind of as a one-off, and it might cover something much larger than the initial construction site. This also typically follows on with some work during the earthworks, and if you have a drone dock at this point, then you can get regular updates on earthworks progress, which for a project manager can be high value. It also gives you some idea of where you are in the process in terms of, okay, we still need to move this amount of earth to reach the design surfaces in these areas. When you're during the construction phase, especially during vertical construction, I would say, you have these extensive concrete forms that need to be built and poured, and then you go on to the next step, next floor. If you have drone monitoring, I would argue daily or by two times daily is a good metric. Then you really have an extremely precise view of both the current state of the building site, as well as crucial checkpoints during that process, which can provide you data that you can then use in site maintenance later on. And then obviously during site operation, it's quite useful if you need to plan, let's say, a solar panel installation or some kind of intervention in terms of your built asset, that you actually can get an up-to-date drone survey of that location. So during the design and planning phase, typically these are the outputs that you want. We're world-class in producing these, provided that we have good high-quality data with proper mission planning like you get from Flightbase. So obviously that's important. Just to give you some idea of the range that we cover, this is a large-scale scan that was done over, I think, about 20 projects. So this was an initial site survey. It wasn't done with Flightbase, but it gives you some idea of the size of projects that Pix4D customers are doing. We really can scale to any size of project that you want. Another thing that we're doing recently is we're also doing some terrestrial scanning. So you see the green dots are the camera pictures that were taken from a mobile phone. And this gives you a high resolution point cloud of downtown Dresden in this case. And this is a nice supplement to what you can get from overhead drone scanning. It's often difficult to get some of these horizontal facades, and they can give you a really nice point in time. Or if you have places with extensive tree cover, this terrestrial scan can actually be merged. And if we're talking about professional quality drones, typically they have RTK. These workflows that I'm presenting here can they because they use RTK as well, it's easy to align them in absolute space, and the data is quite can be merged extremely easily. So the other point that we have is we have extensive tools in the Pix4D ecosystem for digitization of as-built elements. So we can automatically detect manhole covers, drains, curbs, road elements for various job types. These are extremely useful. We can detect objects that are often missed by humans. And we're adding additional classes of objects on a regular basis. But here you can see an example of drain detections. And you can get some idea of how many of these objects exist in a given drone scan and how painful it would be as a human to go and do this yourself manually. And then finally, Pix4D Cloud really gives you an easy way to share this with the entire team. Point clouds can be extremely heavy in the gigabyte or hundreds of gigabyte range. Pix4D Cloud basically means you can do this on a mobile phone, so there's no need for any additional software to be installed. And Pix4D Cloud also has the ability to keep this history of a given site, so you can go back and look at previous days, all inside the same building site, and you can overlay on top of that your existing CAD files for reference to design work. The other important point here from all of these workflows, typically if you digitize any objects, you want to use them potentially in a JS package or in Autodesk, or if you're doing infrastructure management, G Small World is another popular say software package. So we have export options that allow you to take the outputs from Pix4D into these software packages. Obviously, that's a crucial part of most workflows. So what I wanted to say here, and I think this is important to hammer home, in terms of let's say the studies we've done with customers, if you're doing high-rise construction, daily or twice daily monitoring of those building sites can be extremely valuable. I have a video after about why. Also, this on-demand as-built terrestrial underground documentation, we're seeing a lot of interest in subsurface utility using terrestrial scanning with Pix4D Catch and an RTK rover. But these two data sets can definitely be combined, and it's quite easy and cheap to get this terrestrial scanning. And it merges extremely well with the data that comes from the combined Flightbase and Pix4D Cloud solution. So the idea is that you attach an RTK receiver to your phone and you walk around, you scan as you go, and then you can import that into Pix4D Cloud. And this gives you some idea of the digitization capabilities that are available there. And as we said, sharing with your favorite software. Now, why does this need to happen twice daily? So this is an example of a building site in the Netherlands. And you can see there this yellow box. The wall, this kind of white line, I think you can see with my cursor here, is the actual wall, and the plan wall was 35 centimeters to the right. So you can see there's a 35 centimeter difference there. And so this is something basically what had happened was they had measured the absolute accuracy, or sorry, the relative accuracy was good. They had measured to a different point, and so they had built the wall 35 centimeters off, and they did actually have to go back and demolish this and rebuild it. But if they had waited and done the next floor before they had done that, the cost would have been significantly higher. So this is a good example of why these daily scans can actually be useful in these concrete high-rise projects. And to give you an idea of a little bit how this can be checked and why it's important to have up-to-date data, I'll show you this video here. So you can see here you have your BIM overlay, which we see on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side you have the point cloud that's collected for an existing concrete site. And you can see here that you can check really that the what you've put in place actually matches the design. So if you have, for example, formwork up, you can actually scan before the concrete is poured, and you can verify that it actually matches up to the design. So you can see here we're checking this critical pillar here, load-bearing pillar, making sure that it actually matches the design. And that's going to be crucial to making sure that you don't have any kind of structural issues in your projects, and that you don't have any kind of need for a rebuild later after you've done the concrete pour, which is going to be extremely expensive. Okay, so if I can get my next slide here. So we've been doing some of these monitoring projects, about 40 different sites over the last 5 years. And if we look at a 12-story building and we look at the average frequency of errors requiring demolition, the average cost savings of a 12-story building over a 12-month period is about 40,000 in terms of staff costs and about 180,000 in terms of material costs. So roughly around 220,000. This is a small subset. I mean, 40 sites is not a lot, but it's pretty representative because it comes from different sites in Europe. So some places the cost is slightly lower, some places the costs are slightly higher, but ballpark wise, you can see a pretty significant benefit from doing these daily scans. And the reality is it's virtually impossible to do something like this, twice daily scans, without the automation that you get from Flightbase. So the other final point here, and this is also another key point, and also why you want to engage in this process in your companies, and why you should convince your customers if you're a service provider, is that it will improve their ability to do sign off. We have increasingly customers who are actually demanding some of these outputs as part of the sign off. And verifiable project state throughout the project can actually mitigate disputes and reduce costs significantly. We've seen this time and time again. It's a very clear outcome. So just summing up, on the Pix4D side, we have our construction solution, which takes over after the Flightbase flights have been done. We have a mobile application for doing any terrestrial scanning that's needed to add to the Flightbase data sets. We support a range of RTD rovers that make the catch have high accuracy and make it possible to merge these data sets. We have a Pix4D cloud, which is tightly integrated with Flightbase, so that's working very well. And if you need to do additional manual processing, we have desktop software which can do that. And finally, for quite detailed analytics, we have a software called Pix4D Survey for measurements and exports to CAD and GIS. We also have training for all of these products, so they're online, self-paid online courses. Very cost effective and very time effective for anybody who wants to learn how to use these packages. So summing up, this solution with Flightbase can generate up-to-date, affordable and reliable situation awareness. You can improve your performance monitoring workflows. You have 3D documentation, which is high accuracy, survey grade accuracy. I mean, this is one of the things that Pix4D focuses on extensively. You have significantly reduced operational risks. It's quite easy to plan. If you need to move a machinery to a site, you know exactly what's on the site at any given point, and you know where you can put the machinery, where it will fit. So this really gives you a safe, trustworthy information in a challenging and hard to reach environment. And obviously the Flightbase automation is critical to making sure that this works. So with that, I will hand it back to my colleagues at Flightbase.
Sure. Thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing that and really great insights on the construction front and what Pix4D is doing. And I'm sure as we integrate the docking stations together, the data collection process would get a lot seamless, right, where you can have more and more data collected with a higher frequency. So everybody, we now have a quick demo video that we want to quickly demonstrate of how Flightbase and Pix4D works together. So let me share the screen again and play this video where you'll be able to understand, get a demo of the Flightbase dashboard, and then you will be able to see the captured data on the Pix4D interface. So if the screen is up, yes, and I'll quickly play the video. So this is automating dog drone operations with Flightbase and Pix4D. So Flightbase provides you the entire remote operation capability. You of course have to link your Pix4D account with this. Our team would assist you for the Pix4D cloud account, how you can integrate. And once you have integrated that, you can add a site where you have deployed your docking station. So once you've added a site, map goes to your site, you have the entire site on the base map that is available to you. You can go to missions and create different missions, right? So you can create the entire area that you want to capture, and Flightbase provides a sophisticated utility for your mission planning. Suppose, say, you're using DJI Dog 2 with the Matrix 3D drone. and you can use either the thermal drone, you can use the normal RGB camera. You can have those drones selected and you can tag those missions so you know which kind of missions you have. Then you can go and directly launch your drone. You can see that the dock is opening. You can see the live video feed from the docking station. You now also have a live video feed from the drone. The drone takes off, does the entire mission for you. So this is entirely automated, remotely connected. The drone would go to that particular location, start doing the entire operations, and you could be sitting remotely at a distant location. You would of course get the entire live video feed on your screen, so you can see the live operation sitting remotely. You get the entire location of the drone as it flying and capturing the data. In case the drone is not able to cover the entire mission in a single flight time or the battery time, flight base takes care of everything. The drone will come back, land, recharge, and continue the mission. And once it is done, it will come back and land. Sorry for my internet in case you're not seeing the video smooth. But yeah, the drone is back in the docking station. And of course, now you need the access to the data. You have all that data available in the gallery where you're able to see the captured images. You can choose the media that you want and use the export manager and the Pix4D Flink to export the entire data to Pix4D Cloud. Just go to the share to Flink, choose Pix4D from there, select the site and hit the share button. And Flightbase would take care of everything with the Pix4D Flink and the collaboration with the Pix4D Cloud platform. All of that data would be available and you can directly view the model from Pix4D and you'd be able to see that. So the mission that we flew on that site, you have the entire 2D, 3D map, AutoMosaic map available in Pix4D Cloud. So without going on the site, doing those operations remotely, it's entirely possible with the dog drone operations. We discussed the benefit, and this is how you can do the entire operations there. Now, last but not the least, we have a quick testimonial from our partner Navigate, who would like to share how they are leveraging this. So they are a Pix4D partner, they are a flight-based partner, and this is how they are using the systems and planning to deploy automated drones for several of their customers. So let's hear them out what they're saying about this integration and how they're leveraging this.
Hi, my name is Piotr Kowski. I'm Vice President at Navigate. I am responsible for the drone sector. We are a supplier of many advanced UAV related solutions to the Polish market, such as Flightbase, where we are a bronze partner, and Pix4D, a premier partner. For over 7 years, we have been dealing with the entry implementation process in companies that use UAVs from the moment of purchasing equipment to training, operation, and obtaining appropriate permits to perform flights in this airspace, in the country. The constant increased awareness of the use of geospatial data, the more native UAV system, and in this space, element during construction work or open flights. Initially, the problem was changing the companies about performing mission using the docking station. It was difficult to understand that the execution of mission with appropriate permits can take place from anywhere in the world and can be done by one person in many places. We tested the entry process on our facilities before delivering the appropriate solution. Of course, at the beginning, we had to familiarize ourselves with the presented solution, but they turned out to be much easier than we thought. The integration process itself was easy to perform, especially thanks to the help of third-party Flightbase and Pix4D having extensive experience in implementing standard UAVs solution in photogrammetric works. We passed on to the client knowledge how to plan a flight so that the data as he expected was the highest quality. The solution significantly improved the efficiency and quality of data collection. With the equipment of an office station where our one person works, the client is able to handle several activities in one day. This is a huge change compared to what was previously. Additionally, using the volume monitoring application, the client receives a ready report on the amount of collected material on their phone or email every day. The report contains all the important information needed for their work. They do not have to worry about the collect data, they simply receive ready-to material. To sum up, the proposed solution significantly improved the work of our clients, many of them saw how much drones can do in everyday activities.
Great. So that was a testimonial from Navigate and how they are leveraging this and planning to deploy it for their customers with leveraging the automated drone docks as well as Flightbase and Pix4D. So with that, we have come to the end of the webinar, and you need three things to get started. Of course, you need the drones and the docking station. We can help you with that. We can connect you with the right partner in case you already have a drone and dock. We'll tell you how to get started. Of course, you need the flight-based subscription as well as the Pix4D cloud subscription. Once you have these three, you would be able to use and leverage the entire automated workflow. So with that, we'll open up for Q&A. If you're interested to book a demo or get a trial, feel free to scan these QR codes to contact Pix4D. And if you already have Pix4D and looking to use your automated drone dock or planning to purchase one, you can reach out to Flightbase and get started with automated drone operations. So with that, we'll open up for Q&A, and I'll ask Ajinkya to help us with the questions from the audience. In case you haven't put your questions so far, feel free to put that in the Q&A section, and we'll be able to take it one by one. If you have any doubts related to hardware, software, BLOS compliance, Pix4D with construction, and several aspects, we have the expert here with us. Jeff would be able to cover all the things related to Pix4D, and I'll be able to help you navigate how you can use the entire drone and docking station.
Great. Thanks a lot, Achal. Thanks a lot, Jeff. And really interesting to learn that how Pix4D can help in each phase of construction, right from designing to the operational side. So that's really interesting. And Jeff, also thank you very much for emphasizing on how important it is to have multiple flights a day or multiple flights to collect data to avoid any costs at a later stage. So that was really interesting. And Achal, thanks a lot for showing us the value of what drone docks can, or what change drone docks can bring into the existing operation of these users. With that, I would open the stage to Q&A section. But if you have any questions or want to book a demo of the Flightbase and Pix4D solution, we have those QR codes on the screen. Feel free to scan them, and we also have the links listed there, so you can go there and fill up the form and reach out to us. So first question, I think this would be for you, Jeff. It's from Alvaro. The question is it possible to do thermal orthomosaics using this kind of configuration?
So the answer is it depends. So as far as I know, we do not support thermal imaging on the cloud itself, although we do support other types of multispectral. So unfortunately, the answer today is, I believe, no. There is an additional issue that many of the thermal cameras are not high enough resolution to produce a good orthomosaic in this way. There is a technique that we use so there is one way that it can be done, but it's not as automated as the process that we've described here. Once you upload the data to Pix4D Cloud, where you have it kind of in a central location where everybody can access it, you can then download the image to one of our desktop software packages, and you can reprocess with the thermal what's called a thermal rig support. And there you basically take advantage of the resolution of the RGB images, and you augment that with texture information from the thermal images. So that can produce a decent orthomosaic, but you do have this manual step where you have to download the data and process it.
Got it. Thanks, Jeff, for that answer. Achal, next question would be for you. Is your solution recognized by different countries around the world, in particular by the EASA in Europe?
Yes, absolutely. We have multiple deployments all across the globe. So wherever you are, and Europe, of course, you saw right now a testimonial from Navigate, who are based in Poland, right, and they've been leveraging several. Similarly, we have several partners and resellers across the globe. In fact, if you look at our partner sheet and Pix4D reseller sheet, you'll see a good overlap. So in case you're already using that, your partner may already have access to Flightbase. In case you do not have that, feel free to contact us and we'll be happy to help you. But just taking that question, understanding that question from the BVLOS standpoint, yes, the answer is yes to that question, where Flightbase is being used and have got all the permissions with different partners to fly beyond visual line of sight. Of course, there's a process. There is a process called SORA, where you need to get your approvals to fly these BVLOS. We also have dedicated partners. In case you're interested, they can assist you with entire process to get approvals for your site to fly beyond visual line of sight on those particular locations.
Thanks, Achal. And another question we have is, can Flightbase combine data from multiple sites for processing in Pix4D?
I think this one is for me mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I say this? So we support, as I showed before, we can support really any size of data set in Pix4D Cloud. Although there is technically a limit of 4,000 images, but there's ways around this, so we can discuss that. What I would say is there's nothing really stopping us from doing this, but let's say the combining of data is a kind of a special topic. So if you have a specific use case that you have in mind, you should reach out to probably to us at Pix4D, and we can give you some background there. I'm pretty confident that Flightbase can do the right thing on their side. In terms of combining multiple sites, there's some specifics to it that we can discuss with you, and we have lots of options in this case, but it's worth reaching out to us directly.
Got it. Thanks a lot, Jeff. Achal, one question we have is, does Flightbase provide any assistance or help in getting BVLOS approvals? Because when it comes to construction sites, there will be workers working on the site, and it is really necessary to ensure safety of these operations. And that is where regulatory bodies have certain kinds of terms, conditions, or SOPs that we need to follow. So how does Flightbase help in that?
Great. So we provide the entire integrations with different systems that are required for your BVLOS approval. So we help you technically with all the integrations, and we have a large network of local advisors or consultants who could help you get the entire approval for your site. So there's a process to apply, and that is what you have to go through it. So you can contact us and we can connect you with one of the local partner, depending upon which country you are in, and they would be able to assist you with all the compliance and regulations.
We have another question. With what plan of Pix4D Cloud can people access this integration?
So this is available with any of the Pix4D Cloud platforms, but there are it's available with any of the Pix4D Cloud's plans. But you are best off with the Pix4D Advanced plan. The reason being that you get more processing credits and more storage with this plan, and crucially for the integration with Flightbase, because you're doing these multiple scans across the same site. If you want the site tools, they are only available in Pix4D Advanced, Cloud Advanced. The other point there is that typically these are going to be used, at least if you're talking about the construction space, which I see roughly 5% of the attendees are actually using them already for construction site monitoring. it's quite useful to be able to have the IFC files associated with the project and to be able to view those in line with the as-builts that are generated from the data that Flightbase collects. So that is kind of it's really strongly recommended that you go for Cloud Advanced. In principle, it should work with Cloud Basic, but it's a much lower value. And for the constructions use cases, the Cloud Advanced is I would say basically it's not technically a requirement, but the value is definitely there. It's partly why we designed it the way we did. There's actually a question here that we skipped, which is, can you generate automated terrain models with Pix4D? So by automated terrain models, I guess you mean, let's say, what Arkins called in some cases bald earth models, where you've basically removed the vegetation from the digital surface model. The answer there is not automatically. But there are tools inside of Pix4D Survey to generate these. So if you go to the manual, and the reason being that it's not so easy a process to automate. It depends a little bit on the data that you have, at least in my experience.
Got it. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for answering those questions. So I think we are just out of time. We will take a few of the questions that are coming in offline. But I would like to hear some closing thoughts from you, Jeff, as well as Achal.
So I mean, my closing thought is, I mean, this has been quite a nice process going through this initial integration with Flightbase. You guys are super pro. I'm happy to be working with you and looking forward to what we do next. And I'm also happy to be going and talking to some of these customers that I was mentioning in the chat. It's driving our interest in the integration, and really looking forward to what we do next with this.
Awesome. Yeah, I would first like to thank Jeff for his time and presentation, all the insights and taking questions. So thank you so much, Jeff, for doing this with us. And I'm very excited in terms of the traction that we got. We already had 100+ folks joining live, and we have a lot of people who have registered for the recording there. So there's a real traction on this, where a lot of people are looking to leverage this. And this is just a start. We have bought initial integrations. Of course, we will be looking to build tighter integration with Pix4D, so you can leverage both the platforms and also use the automated drones to have these sites entirely equipped with docking station and drones, and leverage it for multiple use cases. And as we've been seeing in this market, right, as you have these drones deployed with the docking station, your data collection could easily go 10x, and your data processing would also go higher, right? So this is where you would need a combination of great platforms where you can leverage this and automatically have that data process with the right combination. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And thank you, Jeff, again, for your time. And we look forward to doing more of these on different topics in the coming months.
Thanks, Ashwell. Thanks, Ajinka. Thanks to the whole Flightbase team. Looking forward to what we do next.
Yep. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Ashal. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. And yes, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can see the QR code and the website link, contact form link on your screens. And yes, look forward to seeing you again for the next Platform Connect. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.